It is Thursday, which means it's time to play our favorite game. It's this or it's that. You can get with this or you can get with that. I'm going to ask Clint a scenario in segment one that's going to make him immediately reach for the bucket. So stay tuned today on the Locked On Bulldogs podcast.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. He is Daniel. I'm Clint. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. We always appreciate it. You guys are the best. 199, the loyal third segment listeners that listen all the way to the end of the third segment. We appreciate you as well. Daniel teased at the beginning of this. He did, in fact, say it's Thursday. What he meant by Thursday, it feels like it's Thursday. In fact, it is Wednesday. But it feels like Thursday is already here.
Days of the week are hard.
It
was a holiday on Monday.
That's what I mean.
So I don't know. I don't know which way's up. I don't know which way's down. I feel like I've been on a roller coaster ride this week in terms of the days of the week. It's been
be honest. It feels like the funnel cake has found its way down into the nether regions, and the roller coaster has done some bad things to it. People love the banter, Daniel.
They do love the banter because it makes so much sense, Clint. What we're going to do today is we're going to play a game of this or that. Essentially, what's going to happen is I'm going to give my charming as ever co-host Clint a scenario. He's going to simply choose whether he would rather get with this or he would rather get with that. These are going to be matters of personal preference. It's one of our favorite things to do. We know that the listeners love it. We know that Gurf loves it. And so it's going to be a staple of the off season. Today, we're going to start with this, Clint.
Okay.
You can get with this, and that is Georgia is down by 7 points heading into the fourth quarter of 5 football games this year. Okay? That's scenario one. And then those games play out however they play out. Okay? Or you can get with that. And that is Georgia goes 9-3. But I guarantee you they sneak into the playoff as a 12 seed.
You, sir, are a horrible person. You're a horrible person with horrible intentions for all that is good. I have a couple clarifying questions.
Okay, ask away.
Do I get to choose the 5 games in which we are the fourth quarter down by 7?
It's a great question that you ask. And I'm going to say no, only because if you choose like Tennessee Tech, Georgia, those are easy. Those are guaranteed wins. So I'm not going to let you off the hook that easy. You do not get to choose the 5 games. They will be dictated by the 5 most likely games that Georgia is down in the fourth quarter. So let's just call them Georgia's 5 toughest games this year.
Right. So you're telling me we are down in the fourth to Texas, Alabama, Clemson.
Probably. Ole Miss,
yeah. And
Tennessee?
Tennessee? Yeah, it's got to be Tennessee. It's not Kentucky. It's not Auburn. It's got to be Tennessee. Okay. Of the games, if you're telling me we're down 4 entering the fourth quarter in Tuscaloosa and in Austin.
I'm not telling you. We might have the ball on Tennessee's 1 yard, on the Tennessee 1 yard line.
Right.
And the clock strikes 0 in the third. We're down 7.
Right.
Or Alabama might have the ball on our 1 yard line. Similar scenario. So I'm not giving you any more details.
Okay, I hear you. The 12th seed in the playoff is going to be a gauntlet upon gauntlets after just coming off a gauntlet of a regular season. We have one of the toughest schedules that we've ever seen in Georgia. Then you parlay that into a bracket in which we are having to go through the biggest and best. We don't get a home game. we get the top dogs all the way through.
Best non-conference champion is who you draw as the 5th seed, and you got to play them on the road, true road game as the 12th seed. But you're in the playoff.
But you're in the playoff.
You did go 9-3, so
that doesn't feel.
It wasn't a fun regular season. It wasn't a fun season.
I'm gonna say that I anticipate us being down by 7 in 3 of the games I listed in the fourth quarter in Tuscaloosa. Okay. Ole Miss, I don't buy Ole Miss, but I think that game might be closer. That could be one of them. Tuscaloosa, and as well as in Austin. Give me 5 games that were within a score in the fourth quarter and we're down. Because I anticipate Carson Beck and this defense showing up. I think we're going to have a lot of resiliency and a lot of finishing ability. We know that Kirby in the fourth quarter, Kirby is king of the fourth quarter. Every coach in America wants to be, and you hold up those stupid 4 fingers, yada, yada. Kirby literally practices this where every single player on the team is a 4-quarter individual. Not like Ole Miss, not like you're going to come out of the gate in the first quarter. I anticipate first quarter Ole Miss kind of be like Tennessee a couple years ago, 14-0 after the first, and then it's all going to go other way, I think, at that point. So give me Kirby Smart, Carson Beck, and this defense in the fourth quarter with a winning opportunity against 5 opponents on the schedule, 3 of which I anticipate will be within that, 2 of which would be kind of weird. But I think that if that's the case, we're going to come out with at least 2 of those wins. And
okay,
maybe
so there's a 9-3.
There's the 9-3 you're talking about. And I anticipate us getting a win at Tuscaloosa if we're down by 7, getting a win against Ole Miss if we're down by 7 in the fourth quarter. So give me this that you started. Daniel, do you agree, disagree with me?
Yeah, it's tough because I do think you could win 2 of those games and go 9-3, but that doesn't guarantee you'll make the playoff. I think 9-3 making the playoff could be a stretch. Like, you got to really, Georgia's got the schedule to do it. They're going to have the preseason ranking to do it. They definitely are going to have the pedigree to do it. But 9-3, you're definitely going to have a 2-loss team in the playoff this year. Yeah. But you're going to have multiple 2-loss teams in the playoff. But I don't know that 9-3. You still might make the playoff, but you're going to need a lot of help. And so I'd probably take the guaranteed college football playoff because I do think you're looking at a likely 9-3 in either scenario. I'll tell you this. I'm not scared of Tennessee down in the fourth quarter. At home,
nope.
Josh Whipple, I'm not scared of that one bit. I'm not particularly scared of Clemson week 1 down 7 in the fourth quarter, although I am scared of how I'm going to feel if we're down 7 week 1 going into the fourth quarter against Clemson, because I'll just spoil it for you. It's going to be tough. M-dubs, I'm going to need that water, and I'm going to need it quickly if we're down 7 heading into the fourth quarter. All right.
Do not delay.
I disagree with you. I'm going to take the guaranteed college football playoff appearance. Yeah. We've got more this or that coming up for you right after this.
It is not that. It is simply just this, and this is FanDuel. FanDuel is fantastic. Daniel and I love them. It's a winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. FanDuel, Daniel, I love them. Get over there right now. Check it out.
Let's do it. Clint, let me ask you this. Is it Thursday yet?
Nope.
Still Wednesday. Okay. Well, let's continue on with this episode. I made you grab for the bucket in segment 1, and so it's only right. I'm going to give you. I'm going to spin it the other way. We're going to move the other direction here, and we're going to go something positive. Now, I anticipate it's possible both these things could happen.
Oh, I like it.
But I'm going to make you choose. I'm going to guarantee you one of them.
Okay.
And I'm going to make you choose which one you would rather have the assurance of. One of them, neither of them really are going to be a strong indicator of the season Georgia's going to have this year. I think one it leans more that direction? Do
This is
you want to guarantee a positive season this year, or the other leans toward maybe an eye to the future?
okay.
So you can get with this, and that is the Georgia Bulldogs and Kirby Smart break their own record in next year's NFL draft
Oh,
and have not 5, but 6 players drafted in the first round.
that there is a high.
There's a chance that this happens. So that's the this that I'm going to give you. 6 first round NFL draft picks in next year's NFL draft.
Things have gone well for us.
Or you can get with that, which is, I guarantee you, Glenn Schumann won't leave after this year.
Ooh, how long do I get the guarantee for?
I just guarantee you that it won't be after this season.
Yo, let's break this down a little bit because I know we have withstood Dan Lanning leaving, Mel Tucker first leaving, Dan Lanning, and then we've withstood those and we've gotten better and we're good and the ship is right. King Kirby is there. But I'm telling you this right now. I'm letting you know, Georgia fan.
Okay, let us know.
You can only do that for so long until people in the pipeline are no longer there. You keep chopping down the tree enough times. There's wood there and there's meat on the bone, but then you get down to a certain point and there's nothing left. Guys, Glenn Schumann, we need some roots, is what I'm saying. We need some little sprouts, some places to grow up in a hurry. Glenn takes off. This is not like losing Mel. When we lost Mel, it was like, okay, Dan, cool, great. We lost Dan, it was like, okay, Glenn, cool, great. Daniel, is there another Glenn Schumann, Dan Lanning, or Mel Tucker on the team right now?
The fact that you don't know who the next guy it would be should tell you everything that you need to know about how you would feel if Glenn Schumann lost. Now, do we trust Kirby to make that higher? We absolutely trust Kirby to make that higher. But the fact that you don't know who it is should tell you it's not going to be the seamless transition from Dan Lanning to Glenn Schumann that Georgia has already sustained. And so, Georgia fans, one day when the man leaves, it's going to be an L for your program. Like, it's going to be a loss for the Georgia Bulldogs. I could guarantee that loss wouldn't come this offseason.
Now, the most likely candidate is T-Rob, right? T-Rob is going to be the most
comes
likely.
in. Yeah, he has the title. He's been given the co-defensive coordinator title.
But again,
it's a young man. It's a young coach.
So I ask you, can you tell me that he is Dan Lanning, Mel Tucker, Glenn Schumann? You can't tell me that. If I can guarantee one more year of Glenn, I'm going to take that all day long, Daniel.
Okay.
I'm going to take that all day long. 6 first-round draft pick. That's good. That's fantastic. That means things pop for us this year. We could have 3, 4 first-rounders, not break the record, still be fine, a lot of them being on defense. And you're going to give me Glenn for another year as he waits for an opening of his choosing. And maybe T-Rob gets going. Maybe we have somebody else. Maybe we bring in another analyst to play on the defensive side of the coaching. But when Glenn leaves this offseason, it's going to be really, really bad for my psyche because he will have an opportunity to get a head coaching position. If I can guarantee that, I would keep him around. Did I make the right choice according to you?
Yeah, I think that's the one I would have gone with as well. You know, the draft picks don't necessarily guarantee success. There's been teams that have not won it all. Obviously, when Georgia last had that record-breaking draft, they were coming off a national championship, and so that is it would be a pretty strong indicator. Because let's just be honest, there's some guys that are pretty near first-round locks right now, no matter how the season goes. But for Georgia to get 6 in the first round, some guys are going to need to play their way in to the first round. Smile Mondon, I'm looking at you. If Smile Mondon has the kind of season where he plays his way into the first round, Clint, I'm going to ask you, is the defense pretty good this year?
If Smile Mondon makes himself a first-round draft choice, you and I have been to many meaningful games and not woken up particularly healthy in the next day.
Yeah. If Ernest Green plays his way into a first-round left tackle, you're going to feel pretty good about the season that the offensive line has. And so, yeah, that would be a tempting thing. But I think you take one more year of Glenn Schumann, because I do think Kirby would like another year of T-Rob seasoning, just marinating. Put him in the Ziploc bag, put him in the fridge, and just let him soak in this system before we turn the reins over to him. Caitlin DeBoer was going to give him the defensive coordinator job. I don't know if you know this. Just give it to him outright. He was offered the job.
He was no.
Oh, is that wrong?
No, that's wrong. He didn't. He would never do that. Alabama only gets coaches they want and only offers players and coaches that are there currently. If they're not at Alabama, they never once offered them. Those are the rules.
Yeah, now that you say it, it sounds right.
Yeah,
now that you say it, it's certainly, he didn't take a demotion to come to Kirby Smart. There's no way that anyone would have done that. To leave Alabama, come and work for the best in the business. No way.
No way that would happen.
Yeah. All right. I got one more this or that from a man right after this.
All right. You gave me a bucket in the first. You gave me a nice little thought of keeping Glenn Schumann, which for a hot moment made me feel great until I realized if it's in a this or that,
we're probably not going to keep Glenn Schumann.
We're not keeping Glenn Schumann. So
we're probably not going to get 6 first-round NFL draft picks. We're probably not keeping.
Neither of those things are going to happen. So thank you for.
But they could both happen. They legitimately could.
There's a chance. The spectrum.
Glenn Schumann. He's going to get offered jobs. He probably already has been offered jobs. Is he going to get offered an Oregon-type job? If he doesn't, I think he holds out. I think Kirby's history and Kirby's pedigree have shown you hold out for the big jobs. And so it'll be a question if somebody's ready, if one of the big schools are ready to offer Glenn Schumann their head job after this season. We'll see. All right, I got one more for you, and the 199 is here, and we're so happy to have you. 199. You guys are the best.
Jen, Sarah, Justin, M-Dubs, Smith Brothers.
It's all love in here. We're just happy. We're just all happy to be here. We're having a good time. This is not going to be a particularly good time for you, Clint, but we're going back to negative town. You ready?
Cool.
All right.
Cool.
We're not going to call it an injury because we don't talk about injuries.
No, we don't talk about those.
Those aren't real.
Nope.
We're going to say it's a 1-game suspension for violation of team rules. Okay.
Internal discipline.
Okay. Here it is. You ready? You can get with this, which is of the 11 players on the starting offense, we come to a consensus and we name a starting 11, even though Kirby doesn't really believe in that, but we choose 11 players that are the starters. Okay. I omit the Tennessee Tech game.
Okay.
And then I tell you that one of those players is going to miss one of the remaining 11 games for the regular season, and you must choose all of them, and they must miss the whole game, and it has to be one of the 11 offensive starters. You understand? So Carson Beck missing any game, and you get to choose which player misses which game, right? So Etienne's going to miss a game. Carson Beck's going to miss a game. Ernest Green's going to miss a game. Tate Rattler's going to miss a game. You get to choose on the schedule which game they are missing.
An eliminator style, sitting out offensive player. Okay, great. I understand.
Or you can get with that, which is in a randomly generated 8 of 12 regular season games, a randomly selected 4 wide receivers will miss that game. It's different every game, and it's
But
only
a combo of 4.
There will be 4 wide receivers that miss a game in 8 of the 12 regular season games. You don't know which ones, and they will only be players that are classified as wide receivers on the roster. And every other offensive player will be available to play in every other in every offensive game. In every game.
So what you're telling me is that Dom Lovett could
Yep.
be the wide receiver chosen 8 out of the 12 games to
He
miss.
could miss 8 games, Dom Lovett, or he could miss 0 games.
Right.
A wide receiver might miss 1 game, might miss 2 games. It's going to be
really,
a random 4 each time, and it will happen in a random 8 of the 12 games.
Yes. Okay, what you're asking me, essentially, if I was to boil this down, what you're asking me is, are our top end offensive player, the most skilled 11, is it equal depth across all 11 positions, or the deepest talent pool we have? Daniel, I think the wide receiver group is the deepest talent pool Georgia has had.
Therein lies the question. Yeah.
In some question. So in some time. So do we have enough depth in wide receiver that we can run with any 3 or 4 mix of the 8? Can we run with any of them at any time with Carson Beck, with our tight ends, with our offensive line, and with our running game? Can our running game, tight ends, Carson Beck withstand, and doesn't really matter who's playing wide receiver?
Plus some wide receivers, because Georgia's got more than 4 good wide receivers. There will be good wide receivers available in every game. And it's very unlikely that your best 4 wide receivers will miss any game. On the schedule. Right. It's very unlikely.
Okay.
Are you willing to roll the dice there, or do you say, all right, I'm going to take of Georgia's 11 toughest games, Carson Beck has to miss one of them, ETN has to miss one of them, and Oscar Delp has to miss one of them, and so on and so forth?
I think the answer to this is we have enough wide receiver depth where you can. One of the top 4 is playing an odd game every single time. I just, the law of averages would only say so.
Sure, nothing unusually bad ever happens to us or the sports teams that we like. It's not like the sports teams that we cheer for are literally snake bitten and can't get out of their own way.
He said they were going to have the best offensive lineup in the entire major league.
And then what had happened?
And then what had happened is Oblique came around and
Mr. Oblique knocked on the door and said, "Excuse me, I'd like to come in now."
And then ACLs began disbanding with regularity.
Just like rubber bands on a kid with braces.
Y'all, we were going to bridge between now and fall with baseball. That's what was going to be.
It's not what the podcast is about.
Okay,
focus. Focus up. Focus up.
I don't think. Look, we have 6 offensive linemen I feel really good about.
There you go. So technically speaking, there would never be a time when, because all other players are available for every other game. So
that's what I mean.
So you can take 5 games out. You feel good.
I feel good about the running game and the running backs we have, that they could go ahead and withstand it. ETN being only 1 game missing.
Yeah. But I mean, in the game that ETN misses, is it at the end of the season? Is Branson Robinson back? Like,
if I could guarantee now, could I guarantee that health for the rest of the offense is only going to be that one injury, or injuries just as is?
I said every other player is available every other game. In a case of a kid returning from injury, I think they would become available whenever they were going to become available anyway. I'm not going to magically make Branson Robinson 100% the entire season. But I think we both anticipate at some point this season, let's say he's not going to suffer a setback.
Sure.
We'll say that. That would be part of it.
I'm going to take the wide receivers in this scenario, though, Daniel, because I can't, because of the war of attrition of injuries already. I can't be without, if all of a sudden Fairchild and Green go out for a game, hot dang, we are in a world of hurt Freeland could come in and do some things. I get that. You're going to put Truss over on left tackle real quick. You're going to put Tate Ratledge, what center. If Carson Beck and we're in a situation in which we have to rely on somebody else and running backs, I believe in the depth of wide receivers so much and the skill out there in that group so much that I think we could withstand taking 4 out of 8, 9 not playing and still have the type of season we want. Yes, 100%. We've shown it before. We'll show it again. Give me 4 receivers out at any random 8 games. That's my answer. Did I choose correctly on this one, Daniel?
This one's tough, but I do think I would take the other one. I do think I would take because you pencil in Carson Beck for, I can't even remember who it is. Not Tennessee Tech. I said I took that game out, but the other garbage game. You pencil in Carson Beck for that one. Sure. Obviously, Gunnar Stockton comes in, plays the whole game.
It was fun.
Georgia still wins 50-0. Not a big deal. So now what you have is you still have Georgia Tech on the schedule at home. Georgia can beat Georgia Tech at home with any player on. So you choose who's the best player on the player you can least afford to be without on this offense. I think it's either Ernest Green or Jared Wilson. I think those are the options of who.
That's it.
So you take that guy out. You take one of those guys out. You take Ernest Green out for the Georgia Tech game. Georgia wins that game easily.
Running away.
Yeah, Xavier Truss plays left tackle the whole game, and we're fine. We feel fine about it. Okay. So now you really only have tight end depth. I feel fine about that. We can skew the offense a different way. Plus, Georgia's got a lot of really capable tight ends. Wide receiver depth, you just mentioned it. I'm not worried at all.
Nope.
I guarantee you this. I'm going to be choosing a wide receiver in the Texas, Alabama, and Ole Miss games. I'm going to be choosing a wide receiver to sit in those games.
DB cores are atrocious.
So we're going to be fine there because we still got a lot of really talented weapons, a lot of really talented playmakers. I don't think that's as bad of a scenario as it might seem on the surface. So I think I would go with that one. And you do have the scenario where Georgia's hamstrung against Texas a little bit, and maybe they lose that game. Maybe Georgia loses it anyway. But then if Georgia loses even a couple of its best wide receivers against a team like Ole Miss or a team like Alabama or a team like Clemson, I think you run the risk of more losses there. I think I could pretty well guarantee an 11-1 in scenario A. And I think there's some real possibilities of a worse record moving in the other scenario. So that's what I would do. This has been This or That. Let us know if you disagree with our takes, as you always do. Alabama fans, let us know that you never tried to hire Dan Lanning, and that everything's going great for you guys, and everything's fine, guys. We will be back later this week, potentially on actual Thursday, when we will talk to you all about more things Georgia football related, and we'll see you guys then.
See ya.